So I've said before many times that when it comes to a TV, size trumps quality to a degree. And if you want to get the biggest screen for your house, then you have to consider some of these ultra short throw projectors. But people tell me that the limiting factor is the expense of these short throw projectors. So today I have the AWOL Vision LTV 2500, which is the most affordable projector that they have in the lineup. And I want to see how good it is. Is it worth getting for like half the price of the 3500 Pro? And also we have two different screens we're displaying this on. We have the 132-inch cinematic screen, and we also pulled out the 120-inch Fresnel screen. So we're going to show you all that and then give you guys buying advice at the end of the video. So we took the LTV 2500 out of the box, and to be honest, it looks almost identical to the 3500 Pro that we had inside the cabinet beforehand. I mean, this is an RGB triple laser. It has active 3D. It has Dolby Vision and HDR10 Plus and Dolby Atmos sound. Of course, it's 4K, and it does have 2600 peak lumen. So there's a couple differences there. The peak lumen is lower than the 3500 Pro, but we'll find out in a little bit if that's even important, whether you're in a bright or dark room and which screen you have. And the 3500 Pro was supposed to be the one that had Dolby Vision and can connect to your smart home. But now this does have Dolby Vision, and it looks like it can connect to your Control 4 system as well. So I'm not really sure about that. In addition, it also has the turbo game mode with 8 milliseconds of lag time, which we found this to be pretty good for gaming. It also comes with the 24 frames per second so you can watch original movie content, and 2500:1 contrast ratio, which is fairly good for a TV or a projector like this. So yeah, it really looks almost identical to the 3500 Pro, and now I'm really wondering why I would buy that over this for half the price. It even looks similar on the back and the bottom. So first, let's talk about the ports. It has 3 HDMI ports, 2 of them are on the back. One of them is the ARC eARC port that you can connect your soundbar or your system to, and then the other one you can just use for a device. And then they actually have a third HDMI port inside the housing of the unit itself, which is made for putting an Amazon stick in there, which comes with the device, because it doesn't really have a smart TV inside of it. I mean, it has an operating system where you can get in there and do some things, but really AWOL Vision is relying on you having another sort of smart TV device, and therefore they give you the Amazon stick. And I use an Apple TV anyway, so it's not that big a deal. And I'm sure you can get a different operating system or a different smart TV device if you want to. And then on the bottom, they do have the feet that can be raised or lowered. So when you're setting this up, which we're going to show you in a second, that can come in handy because you might need to lift it up a little bit or tilt it forward, tilt it back. So that's nice to have. And then on the bottom, there's also a pattern for a mount. It's not really a Visa pattern, but more just a ceiling mount pattern that you can connect. So if you want to just flip it upside down and hang it from the ceiling, if you don't want to have a stand under it, it's possible. So just know that you can do that. So once we were done checking this out, we ended up putting it inside this awesome AWOL Vision smart cabinet that we have. And again, it fit perfectly, just like the 3500 Pro did. We just had to raise the feet up a little to get it in the same spot that the 3500 Pro was. Now just be warned, when you're that close to the projector, the little eye protection is going to pop up, which is a great thing because no one wants to get blinded by a laser. But if you need to turn that off, there is a spot in the menu that you can go up and turn that eye care off, because it is a little bit annoying when you're trying to adjust the screen and get it set up. And I got to be honest, once we fired it up, it looked fantastic. I mean, I feel like I'm watching the same projector. Now, I know it's probably not quite as bright as a 3500 Pro, but again, those things are only noticeable when you don't have the other product there. I mean, for me, we have a giant light on in this room, so that was one thing. We had to turn off the 150 watt bulb. And once we did that, I thought it looked pretty great. I'm pretty impressed with how bright it is in a room where we have a moonlight up on the right here, and it's the middle of the day, and I can see everything like this is an actual TV, not a UST projector. And 2600 peak lumen is pretty substantial. To be honest, it's about the same level as many flagship projectors. So this being, you know, the most affordable one from AWOL Vision, that's pretty impressive. And then later that night, I ended up watching a basketball game and a movie, and overall just really impressed with this AWOL Vision LTV 2500 and the 132-inch cinematic screen. So I actually watched a couple of different videos to find out if anyone had any complaints about the 2500. And to be honest, I couldn't really find any, but I did notice that some people were using the 120-inch daylight Fresnel screen with this. And actually, I think the 120-inch daylight Fresnel screen would be better for this room because there's so much light in here, and it comes from the side and the top. And so this daylight screen is great. And actually, AWOL Vision sent us one 120-inch to test out with this, so we better throw it up there. So this is like our 4th or 5th time we put together a screen in this house, and it was pretty straightforward. Again, One of the cool things is that all of the parts were inside of the actual screen. So we just unboxed it and then pulled out all the parts from inside and then just kind of had to separate them, the inner frame, the outer frame, the rods, all these different things. And it took us an hour or so to get it all connected. We did test it to make sure we had it in the right spot, and then laid it down on the screen and used all the tension rods and everything to tighten it up. And overall, I thought that the Fresnel screen went together a little bit better than the cinematic screen with regards to not having to put every single little spring in there like you have to do for the cinematic. And yeah, and that fabric on the back just made it feel like it was a little bit stronger, and overall, it was just pretty easy to put together. Now, when we went from 132 down to 120, we found out that we were right on the money. We really didn't even have to make any adjustments. But the good thing is with the LTV 2500, you can make keystone corrections, you can autofocus, you can do all kinds of things here in case you're just a little bit off, but you know, the installer was perfect this time. And once we fired the LTV 2500 back up, it looks even better, to be honest. I mean, we even have a light on behind us, and I was like, wow, I'm pretty amazed at how bright it is and how good it is at rejecting light from all angles. So fantastic screen. I like it. It even looks a little sharper being a little bit smaller, I think. So I'm still trying to find some downside for the LTV 2500. And actually, we fired up Dolby Vision Movies to kind of check out how that looks, because we watch a lot of this stuff all the time. And Dolby Vision Bright seemed a little dark, and Vivid seemed, you know, it's vivid, it's fine. But then when I turned it to Dolby Vision Dark, it actually got about twice as bright. So that's a little confusing. I'm not mad though, because Dolby Vision Dark looks absolutely amazing. It looks like a flagship 120-inch TV in my room right now. So I'm not sure why Dolby Vision Dark is bright and bright is dark, but it makes me happy nonetheless. And there's all these other features too. It does have active 3D. So if you're a 3D movie watcher, you're set, because it works really well. And it's an absolutely massive screen, whether you go with the 100, 120, 132, or even the 150 inch. So you're able to project on all of those in 3D. And again, it has 2500 to 1 contrast ratio. So if you're looking at this, you can clearly see it's got great contrast, it's got great brightness for a projector anyways, and even for, again, a mid-range to an upper tier TV, you know, you'd be paying $10,000, $20,000 for a TV of this size that can perform like this. And then it does have the turbo game mode at 8 milliseconds. So we have had some issues with USTs and playing games. Sometimes they're a little glitchy, different brands, but we've actually been very satisfied with AWOL Vision's ability to have fast-paced gaming, whether it be 4K 60 or if you're doing 1080 at 120 frames a second. It looks fantastic, and that 8 millisecond turbo game mode, fantastic, and you know, very playable for gamers. So if you end up putting this in your game room or you put this in your cinema room but you're a gamer, you're gonna be pretty happy. Now the only thing in this room with this Fresnel screen is from off angle it doesn't look quite as good as the cinematic ALR did, because it's rejecting light from an angle, so it just doesn't have the same wide viewing angle. So that's the only one downside that I would say to this combination here. And if that's an issue for you, if you guys are trying to watch it with like 4 couches around the room, then maybe you would just stick with that cinematic screen. So then we come to buying advice. Should you buy the 2500 or the 3500 Pro? Should you buy a Fresnel screen or a cinematic? A lot of questions to be answered. So in this room, again, we have the 2500 here with the 120-inch daylight Fresnel screen. And I think it's a great combination. For most people, this would be fantastic. If it's in your living room, or if any room you're putting it in is just brighter or has a lot of windows, then I would go with this combination right here, because it really rejects light from all angles. And I think the 2500 is plenty bright and has all the same features that you'd get from the 3500 Pro, except for the connectivity to some of the whole home automation type setups. Again, if you want to watch it from multiple angles though, the cinematic screen might be just a little bit better, even if it is in a bright room. And another positive is this can all fit in an 8-foot ceiling room, whereas if you go to the 132 or 150, you may have a little bit of an issue. You also could use the 2500 here with the 100-inch screen. And I think whether you go 100-inch or 120-inch with the cinematic or the daylight screen, you'd be pretty happy with this product. And you can find these in the links in the description. They have some pairings on Amazon, on their website. You can check out both of these. Now, if you're gonna do this one time, if you're just gonna make the perfect cinema and you have, you know, a little bit more money to spend, then the 132-inch seamless ALR cinematic screen is pretty awesome. I do like that, and I think I'm probably gonna put that back up in this room with the 3500 Pro, because I have that combination, and it seems to be a great happy medium between size, quality, and the fact that it doesn't have the seam. And then there's also the 150-inch screen as well, but that does have the seam at the top. But it's so big, that might be what I end up putting just because of the size. size. So those two screens with the 3500 Pro are also a great option. But overall, I'm very satisfied with the LTV 2500. It checks all the boxes for me. The ability to watch regular TV, the ability to watch movies and game as well, all solidly with a bright room here with this 120-inch daylight screen that's rejecting the light very well in this room. It's a fantastic combination, and I think it's very affordable option for most people because, again, sometimes the flagship UST projector and the biggest screen possible can be very expensive and kind of prevent you from getting into this game. Whereas I think this is a very good option for most people. So again, check out the links in the description and hit me up with any comments. I'm starting to get a pretty good idea of what we like and don't like. So if you guys have questions, hit me up and make sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next video.